And we are back. Welcome to the Culture Crusade. Gentlemen, good to see you. Good to see everyone in chat. And, oh my goodness, Christmas is exhausting. It's for the kids. It's for the kids. That's a nice helmet you got there, John. Is that Doom? Is that Doom guy?
Yeah, so I felt like it would be appropriate to rip and tear this year until it is done.
Yeah. Because what a year it has been. And actually, it's a blur to me. I can remember the things that happened the last month, and everything else is just like, what happened? You blink and you miss it. All I kind of can think about this year is that it's kind of sucked. I'm ready for it to be over. How about you, gentlemen? What are your thoughts of this year?
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I had 3 grandkids this year.
Dude.
So, like,
congratulations.
On the family front, it's very freaking awesome. My nephew moved.
Yeah, it's 3 minutes in 1 year.
So, in all like 10 and a half months, dude.
Oh, wow.
It's like all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. I've got 3 grandkids. I'm like, all right, let's go. It's awesome. And that's great. But yeah, a lot of other stuff this year is very questionable at best. So
it definitely wasn't a boring year, but I was remarking to my wife, like at every point of this year, it felt like the year was just flying by. Like there was no point that felt slow. Maybe it's because I was working, like maybe because there was so much news. And I posted a Substack today just talking about some of the personal suckage that I experienced through this year, in that I looked up and it was almost fallen. I'm like, oh, this book I meant to write and finish and put out this year, it's not done. And I'm like, well, so I kind of recommitting myself to releasing it, and hopefully another one next year, and you know, treating my writing a little bit more seriously, and you know, not getting too much into time sinks, which is great because you know I've got Xenoblade Games up there, and if you know them, they are an enormous time sink and an absolutely colossal time sink. As if I can afford that, you know. But
well, I can relate though. I can relate, man, because this last year I committed to also finishing my novel, and the thing is though, I kind of met my writing quota, which is like I was thinking, oh yeah, the book is probably halfway done, and it was sitting at the beginning of this year, it was sitting on like 120,000 words, and I'm like thinking, okay, another 100,000 words, probably finish it off. At the end of the year now, it's up to like 220,000 words. But it's still not done because it's bigger than I was expecting. And so I met the writing quota, but I haven't finished it off. And it still probably has 20 to 40,000 words to finish her off. So I guess the next year's, you know, commitment is to finish off the book this year and try and get it out. We will see though, because like these last 2 months have been wild and busy and exhausting, and especially just December. Christmas as a parent, especially when you got like, you know, multiple kids. I got 5 kids. It is exhausting. It is like the most intense day of the year almost. You're up late at night, like doing you know, parental kind of, you know, things for the kids, and then you're up at the crack of dawn because the kids of course wake up, and then it is full on all day. I either getting toys out, you know, building things, and then making food and setting up the food because the family's getting together, and then cleaning up, and then there's another meal, and then I was just completely wiped out all day on Boxing Day. I was out. It's done.
It's actually better for me this year than last year because my 2 of my kids are out now, and you know, married and making grandchildren for me. For me, they're doing it for me. That's clearly
that's what the grandparents.
But man, last year I got up. I was like, I don't know, because I got up like at 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that to start working. Or no, let me say it really early to start working on the turkey, and then try to get back to sleep. And then when I woke up, dude, I had a freaking headache so bad. I was like fighting just to make it through the Christmas lunch thing. And then I'm like, I'm glad you guys enjoyed the meal. I'm going to bed. I was like done. But this year, like my son made the turkey, my daughter made mashed potatoes, so they like all brought stuff over. It was good.
Just because this was an interesting chat, I don't know where that'll take us. But it's very curious to see Shad's thoughts on the MAGA Civil War. I haven't even been following it. All I see is like Candace Owens acting like a monumental retard, and that's about it.
Those are his thoughts.
That's as far as I've gone into it, and I was like, I support the
current thing.
No, not the current thing. I support classic conservative values, and that's not going to change. And but of course, Australia. Oh, don't get me started on Australia. Holy crap! It's just gotten worse. But separate. How are you, Lit Dev? It's good to see you, mate.
I'm doing pretty good, Chad.
Whoa.
Also, to answer this, no, I'm not. I'm kind of checked out on so many of, I don't know, the MAGA or right-leaning, who I really like? Carl Benjamin, Saga of a Card. He's a good bloke. He's a mate of mine. And I like listening to good old Carl. It's not to say that I don't keep I always pay attention and I'm willing to listen to a lot of people. But I rarely throw my full kind of support or trust behind any one individual because people disappoint you a lot these days. Sorry, Lit Dev. How's the year, mate?
This has been a rough year, but hopefully next year will be great. And next year will be good, a pretty good year, I think. Setting up for some success next year, pretty good. But yeah, end of the year, New Year's coming up soon. Yep.
It's a year, a time of reflection, looking back over the year. I think it'll be fun to actually kind of take a look at some of the media releases, movies and TV shows, and give our retrospective thoughts. Overall, it felt like a very underwhelming year in terms of pop culture. I can't remember all I know is like I've watched a chunk of anime, and nothing really stands out to me as phenomenal, though I can barely remember the stuff that was released at the beginning of the year. Like I said, it's a blur. I have to really slow down and think, what came out this year? And it's like, hang on, did Snow White came out this year, didn't it?
Seemed like it would.
That fell off a cliff.
Yeah, 9 months ago.
That this year?
That was this year. Like that's what I mean. God. It's like, this year is weird. It's a blur. I can barely remember stuff that happened, and stuff that did happen this year feels like it feels like ages ago. But no, Snow White was this year, and that is my top disaster, worst piece of media release this year by far. Anyone else thoughts on like what's the worst thing you can think of for you that came out this year?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things is a big disappointment.
I'm not even watching the last episodes. I'm done. Like, okay, so I sat down because we watched every season of that. It's been a decade, right? And I sat down with one of my sons to watch the first drop, and he didn't notice. I mean, the obvious gay stuff, like with the girls, and I know you didn't watch it, Chad, but
I watched season 1, and I didn't. I was like, meh,
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah.
Well, you didn't grow up in the 80s, so.
Yeah. I think I saw someone put up an accurate, like an 80s accurate version of that scene where everyone is like just making fun of him and stuff.
Yeah, right. They'd be dropping the F-bomb like every single one of them. Like, I can't believe. So you want to suck what?
Because
it was definitely a different vibe back in those days. That was
just very, very different. Like just being gay in the 80s is probably like life threatening. But no, of course, because it was made in 2025, it's got everyone has to be accepting and everything. It's cool, guy. It's cool, bro.
Yeah, there was I can't remember. Somebody was posting something about like how Stranger Things was dealing with the homophobia in the 80s, and I responded to it and I said, we didn't have homophobia in the 80s. What we just called it being normal.
So how do you deal with homophobia? Right? How do you deal in a show? How do you deal with homophobia if you don't have any?
Right.
It wasn't an accurate depiction of the 80s. It did. And what also I found really interesting, I've watched the first like 4 episodes of season 5, but I wasn't able to watch the ones that were released recently because
right. So that was actually my point. You remember the big motivational speech is you just gotta accept who you are.
By accepting who he is, and unlocked his superpowers, which really kind of like
I thought that speech had meant that you just accept who you are. You are this powerful guy that can tap between worlds and stuff like that. I thought that's what that meant.
No,
but no, it meant that he's gay.
Yeah. And that was the undertones of that speech, right? And I'm just like, you couldn't. Oh my gosh. So
there are some actually like concerning things about the whole production thing, because this guy who plays the character is also gay, right? But he started playing the character when he was really young. And when he was underage, everyone was asking him, "Oh, are you gay? Are you gay?" They're always asking him, even in like these interviews.
Like, I was 12. I didn't care about sex.
Young and an impressionable, young man, right? Almost like there's this pressure that if you, because everyone, the implication when they ask these questions, because everyone is ready to celebrate him if he comes out of the closet, right? Which means that they're implying that it is better to be gay, like that's more celebratory than being straight. And like, what is that going to? What type of impression is that going to have on an impressionable mind? Where
they want to at least pretend to be gay. That's kind of what it's. They
want validation. They want to be celebrated.
I have a cousin who has a kid, and that's kind of what's happening under her kid's school. Is that all of her friends are all gay? All her friends are all bisexual or gay or something like that. And because it's popular, it gets you it gets you simple, easy popularity.
It's called social
attention. Yep. And the world is ready to clap and celebrate it. And look, far be it for me to feel like it is really good that men like women and women like men, and they marry, have families, and raise children, and propagate the human species. And I really like the family unit, and I think that is something to be celebrated the most above all other kind of things, because it propagates the human race. It leads to the environment where children are raised in the most optimal fashion and stuff. And I think like, wouldn't that be the thing to celebrate in my mind, and people can choose the identities that they want to choose. Okay. But if we want to choose something to celebrate and encourage, I think there's a clear one that you would want to encourage, but of course that's not the way that the woke movement goes. In actual fact, the woke movement gets triggered when what do they call it? Heteronormative value is promoted in any way. Do you remember how they lost their mind with that McDonald's anime ad?
Is this a wholesome family?
It was just a wholesome, normal family, eating McDonald's, and the woke left lost their minds because it was like they were claiming this is othering, the LGBT community, and it's heteronormative and all that nonsense. It's just like they actually have a thing against the traditional family.
Part of it is, like so many other things in life, and especially in politics, and politics being personal, is it's a team football mentality. It's a football team mentality, right? You have picked a side, so therefore your side has to be the one to win all the time. And when they perceive something as a loss that does not favor their side, they get angry about it, like as if they lost something. And it's like they're in such a bubble, an ideological bubble, that they have kind of mentally perceived themselves as to be on a side that is a majority. And that's not the way reality has gone. And every time the pendulum has come swinging back, it hits them like a 10-ton brick to the face, and they just don't understand what it is. We saw something very similar when My Hero Academia ended, and
no spoilers. No spoilers. I haven't finished it.
He's straight.
Oh, okay, well.
Spoiler, he's straight.
Yeah, this ain't much of a spoiler. The gay shippers had a headcanon that they were convincing themselves was real, even though it was not real. And when it turned out to not be real, like someone on Twitter said, it was the 9/11 for gay shippers, and they just could not handle it. They crashed out hard.
Let me guess. It was Bakugo and Midoriya. They were shipping them together, were they?
Yeah. They wanted those two guys together, yeah.
When it's like, how could you even think that Storyers had a thing for, Gravity Girl from the very beginning. It's like blatant and obvious this guy was straight throughout the whole thing, yet they're so desperate to have, I don't know, their representation or something that they want to just warp reality into their, world.
They want everything.
Basically. It's just it's so weird to me.
It reminds me of remember in Barbie, where they went so woke they went around the bend and it was based.
Oh yeah.
Nothing was funnier to me.
This is
than
what
that.
They don't deserve credit for that, though. I still criticize Barbie because I know their intention. I know what they would try.
But here's the thing: forever, those of us on the other side of the LGBT agenda, we're saying that homosexuality is causal, right? You've got trauma, you've got a fatherless home, or fathers that are abusive or absent mentally or whatever, physically. You've got demonic issues. And what did they do? They had the fatherless with the negligent mom and the demonic the character that was possessed by a demon turn out gay. So they did everything that we've been saying on the other side forever.
To share Mike's tweet. This is Netflix, right? This is not like, we're not saying anything here. It's just like, what does Netflix mean by this? And they have the character here, raised by a single mum, possessed by a demon, gay. Netflix, what did you mean by this? What do you say here?
That's exactly
now,
what I'm saying, right?
as to the cause of homosexuality, I probably differ from Mike's views on it. I think it's a bit of both. I think there is some, nature aspect, but also I think it is beyond doubt that there's a nurture aspect as well. I don't know, but all I know is this. I've talked to gay people.
My old next door neighbor, his nephews were identical twins, raised in the same house. One of them ended up trans. One of them ended up totally straight and conservative. And it's the fact that if there was a gay gene, every single identical twin who are genetically identical would both be gay, and that's almost never the case.
Well, that's interesting. And I've spoken to gay people, right? I of course, I've got gay friends, who doesn't and stuff. And I've literally been told, like, oh, for me, it was a choice. They said, like, for me, I actually chose to be gay. But I've spoken to some people, they say, and some, gay individuals, and they're like, I can't change who I am. And they feel like, they actually say that if they could click their fingers or do anything to be straight, they would. And they've tried, and they say they can't. And I will take them at their word.
It's not genetic. I'm not saying like you have a choice of who you're attracted to. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's, like I said, it's trauma, or it's absent fathers. It's absent or abusive fathers. It's so yeah, I'm not saying it's like when they say this is how I feel and this is how I just, I'm not saying you can just choose one way or the other.
I have two people in my life. One of them's a family member. One became lesbian in the 90s, and another became trans in the 2000s. And in both their cases, those what you just mentioned were present for both of them.
Yeah. For the real trannies, like not the new
the trans stuff, like
trans,
a kid, a child is just like you will never convince me that a child has the maturity to be able to determine that they're the opposite gender when they're not mature enough to drive or drink alcohol or anything like that. When they are an adult, they can choose what they want to do with their life, and that's their choice. But children, like, whoa. So hold up right there. And the fact that there is such a higher percentage of so-called trans-identifying children in progressive homes specifically, and when we say a high percentage, we are talking like in orders of magnitude, 1,000 times more likely. And the results are that compared to non-progressive households, right? and it's like, gee, I wonder who's really influencing, the identity there. Lit Dev, you're sharing something. What's this?
Since we're on this topic, I haven't been here in a while, so I don't know if you covered this topic yet. But there's a whole controversy about them trying to make Lara Croft gay too, and they call her 90% of her fan base is LGBTQA plus, and she's inspired millions of women, including female gamers across the globe. Even though this game was made for men, obviously. Yeah. So my response was an act of rebellion. I decided not to actually get angry at these things anymore. I decided to respond with my own response and make an active rebellion. So what I did was this. I said, that's not stupid. Normalize heterosexuality. And I made now you might like this part, Shad. I made an AI picture.
Oh, I can see.
Of Lara Croft with her canonical husband, Solid Snake.
Solid Snake, yep.
And of course they have the kid that
oh yeah, look at that lovely
the kid going on
family right there.
Yeah,
that kid has some good genes. He's gonna be a warrior growing up.
Mr. and Mrs. Snake had a kid.
He won the genetic lottery. Wait. Now that I'm thinking about the history of Metal Gear Solid, maybe he didn't.
So
he's related to Big Boss, so
there is actually backlash with the Stranger Things last episodes, right? And it is interesting, right? I've already been hearing people expressing their annoyance that the world is about to end, right? And so instead of focusing on, we've got to save the world, Carrie's like, just wait a moment. I need to tell you that the world is ending. But before we do that, I need to tell you something. And it's like, wouldn't there be a better time to talk and pause about this? The writers seemingly went out of their way. Well, not seemingly, obviously, overtly went out of their way to make this a really big point and even try and justify it in the plot that his powers are tied into him accepting his identity of who he is. But what we have seen, which is interesting here, and this is, Disparu, like, he replies to this tweet about Variety. Stranger Things Season 5 has now, oddly enough, guys, been review bombed following the release of Episode 7, The Bridge, which includes a scene where Will Byers, Noah Schnapp, comes out as gay to his friends. The episode is now the lowest rated of the series on IMDb. The backlash has also dragged the season's audience score on Rotten Tomatoes from 70s down to 56, a sharp drop compared to previous seasons. Like it really looks like people are just fed up with and it's not necessarily that anyone has an issue with, a gay character in a series, okay? A series that actually handles it really well. I don't think this series gets enough credit, okay? Who here has seen Downton Abbey?
I've only seen the first few episodes, I think.
Downton Abbey is actually one of the best period dramas you could watch. It's actually really, really good and some genuinely great characters. Mr. Bates, the Chad, the legend. Okay, there is a gay character.
I haven't seen Downton Abbey, unfortunately.
Downton Abbey, it could be a man's show, okay? It's got some really great masculine.
We have the technology.
Mr. Bates is brilliant, okay?
The Bates I like is Patrick Bateman. I like that. That guy's a good name.
Look, I'm getting some support in the chat. That's right. There's a gay character in the show, Thomas, right? And they stay true. One, Thomas acts as mostly a villain throughout the series, yet he has a slight redemption arc, and he becomes more sympathetic, where you get to find out the reason why he acts like such a jerk. And part of it is the rejection that no one, likes him, like when they find out he's gay and he has to deal with all the crap that would have existed in the period quite strongly. And that has made him quite, cynical about the world and about people. But it's not to say he doesn't have kindness in him. And he has a type of redemption arc throughout the series, not completely, because the writers didn't, feel like, the trend that if they're a gay character, they have to be the hero, the center of attention, nothing wrong or no flaw in the thing, because that might be saying something negative about, people who identify with this. Where Downton Abbey was like, no, we're actually going to make this character a real character, like an actual person with justified reason and everything. And he starts off as a scumbag, like a legitimate scumbag. But then he has this interesting redemption arc where you get to learn more about the character, and they handle it really well. And in the series, there is a moment when the household finds out, though a lot of the other people kind of just knew, like Mr. Bates knew all along because he could tell. And the reaction of the characters are actually very true to the period, where some are like, oh, it's, whatever. And then some are like, it is quite hard line about it because it's true to the period. But what I'm saying is that you can have gay characters in a show and make it work really well and not make it feel like it's pandering or it's trying to push a message like what we see with Stranger Things, right?
The problem, Shad, is that it's become so egregious and especially ubiquitous with Netflix shows that it's become a bit of a meme of itself. And people I think now, especially normies who are just kind of poo-pooing the whole culture war thing, are starting to see like, man, they do this in every show I try and watch. It's been a trend, and now the trend, I think, has officially jumped the shark, to use a very old parlance.
I think one of the main issues...
Yeah, go ahead.
I think one of the main issues with Stranger Things, the Stranger Things thing specifically, is that he's just coming out as gay, but like, why now? Like they have demigorgons to deal with. They got Vecna. People are dying left and right. All their families are like lost in the upside down. Their souls are somewhere. Like they're fighting for their lives. The whole world is being torn upside down, and this is what you're thinking about. It's like you're not telling us something important. You're the guy. That's the guy, by the way, who's like the connection between the upside down reality, the Vecnas. Like he's able to like.
Why, dude? The big speech in episode 4 is why. Right? The whole motivation, the whole superpower is him accepting that he's gay. So if he tells everybody else he's gay, male people get more powerful.
Does that mean is the Stranger Thing saying that if you're gay, you have the powers? You get powers if you're gay? That's what it seems like.
So what it seems like. It's a superpower.
He's the only one in the group that has these powers, and him accepting himself for himself.
Because you have to remember, I don't know if you saw it, but they showed when Vecna was torturing him, he had a big old long tubular object in his throat.
So that one, I
don't know if you remember that part
of course I remember, but people try to say that was sexual.
I don't think they intended it to come off the way that it did. But
I'm not saying you can't look that way. I think there's like you see it and you're like, hang on, but it wasn't sexual assault. It was.
That's what made him gay.
That's like a common alien trope or something. But
I
think of gay characters. My favorite gay character has always been Paul Smecker from Boondock Saints. It's like this Shad, awesome detective who you find out he's gay because there's a scene that cuts to him where he's sleeping with this Asian guy, and the Asian guy wants to cuddle, and he just drops an F-bomb.
Is it that? Sorry, you're talking about Boondock Saints? Is that the one?
Boondock Saints? Yeah.
Boondock Saints, yeah, where the detective is gay, and he calls his boyfriend an F slur.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a good movie.
I always liked Shore Leave from Venture Brothers because he was also a really badass character when they gave him a chance to shine.
I need to look it up. I haven't watched this show in a while. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Who's the Captain Holt? Captain Holt is one of my favorite characters. He's gay, and he even has like a gay husband in the show, but it's this tangential thing that only comes up now and then where that's not his identity. His identity is like this straight, faced, stern, calm, police captain. And he is a hilarious character. He's an absolutely hilarious character. And so Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a lot of fun. And so
that guy. Yeah. He is hilarious. He is funny.
Funny.
That's because he was like that in real life. It was just, he just didn't even bother pretending.
And so That's
it's
the thing.
insidious, Shad. Look, they put gay stuff in Stranger Things. Now they've got us talking about who's our favorite gay characters. It's pervasive. It's terrible.
But the point is that we don't have an issue with gay characters. It's the message of that, or the agenda that they try and force into it, especially when they make these characters. That's their whole identity, and it's all about
I have an issue with gay characters. I don't have an issue with gay people. I have gay friends. That's not the issue. I have a gay issue with gay characters because every time you're putting gay characters, and they've done this again since like freaking Will and Grace, right? They've tried to normalize homosexuality in a culture that recognized that homosexuality was abnormal. And they've been doing it for how many years? Yeah, like 40 years, to the point where you've got the conservative, Mormon over here saying, "Oh, we don't mind gay characters." You should mind gay characters.
No, Mike, gay people are in the world, and if you want to depict the world as it is, you'll have gay people, in story.
Dude, there have been polls where people were asked how many
there's a difference between
gays were, and they thought it was 20% of the population because of how much it's in the media.
There is a difference between just depicting the world as it is, and just showing the world versus promotion and presenting and trying to advocate for it. Where I think I want to advocate for the traditional family. I think that is something worthy of celebrating as the utmost ideal. As to just having gay characters, it's for me, it's about what they're trying to push. And in Stranger Things, I think
should we just have pedophile characters too?
Well, there are pedophile characters in media. Like, what do you?
I know, but just like,
but it's how they present it.
Just regular
pedophiles, like as predators preying on children,
No. Just as regular people, John over there. Yeah, he's attracted to kids.
They're trying to
he's
normalize
still my buddy.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
Something. I'm not saying that they're not doing it. I'm saying that you can have
good
gay characters. Okay. No, I'm saying that you can have good gay characters. It's as simple as that.
Right. That's what I think, and I've given some good examples. By 40 years of this propaganda.
No, I think there are some good examples, and Downton Abbey is actually kind of like a gold standard. I think, though.
Yeah, that wouldn't have come off in 1977.
1977.
Sorry, I'm the old guy here, but I remember when this was this prevalent bullcrap, man.
I absolutely believe that, as I mentioned, the traditional family should be celebrated and promoted the most. And people are getting fed up with it, though. They can see that it's being pushed so much. And Stranger Things, is a perfect example. And people are they're hating it. They're saying it's ruined the show, and that people are not even bothering to watch the finale now. That they're just like, "Oh, this sucks." And
that's what I'm doing. It's like I've been giving people the advice for years. If you really want to enjoy Lost, don't watch the last episode.
Don't even bother with Lost.
No, it's really good till the last.
No. I like,
and then you watch the last episode, and it ruins the whole show.
After the second season finale of Lost, I was like, okay, now I can see it. They're just gonna keep mystery boxing the mystery box. You get the reveal of what was behind door number 1, and look at that, it's another mystery box. And I was like, this is just going to be a continual progression of bait and switch and unsatisfying resolution. And I was like, well, I'm done then. I don't need to put up with that crap. Mystery box can work really well.
Didn't watch
there's a good answer. There's a good solution.
You didn't see the last episode?
No, I saw what they were doing out at the end of season 2, and I'm like, I'm done. I don't need any more of that.
All righty.
They didn't fool me. I
go so far out of my way to avoid mystery box storytelling. I can't do that to my readers. It's burned me so many times, and I'm so sick of it.
If it has a good resolution that explains all the mystery and strange things, everything that's satisfying, it can be great. Some of the best examples, I forget the name of the episode in Doctor Who, but it's the Are You My Mummy episode.
Classic.
Great episode. And what made that work so well was the resolution. I'm watching this, right? Kids in gas masks, people getting mutated into people with gas masks, walking around like zombies saying, "Are you my mummy?" And I'm watching this thinking, what the hell? This is like the weirdest crap. What the heck could they possibly present as the explanation of this people mutating into gas mask wearing zombies? What could they give to explain it? And the explanation they give was brilliant. It explained it all. I was like,
Doctor Who
holy
used to be
crap.
so good, man.
The scene of that one guy transforming into one was so creepy to watch.
Mhm.
Even though it was, kind of goofy and, early mid 2000s CGI, it still, it really came across as unsettling. That one was good. The ones with the shadows that eat people, the Nashta Varada in the library planet, that was a favorite of mine. Who turned out the lights?
Oh,
man.
great. I guess what Doctor Who could really, really work well. But that's my example of Mystery Box can work brilliantly when you have the right resolution. And a good example, Brandon Sanderson does this in a lot of his works, where he has these great kind of payoffs that explain all the strangeness. Elantris, one of his first published book, is exactly that, where you don't know why this is happening with the people that have the magic that they're turning into these undead kind of non-able to die living things, but they can still use the magic. And the explanation of what happened is brilliant. And that's the main resolution. Mistborn is where he really, really pulls that off, where things are happening in the first book, right? That is direct implication of the resolution of the last book. And so it's a great form of writing where you could only write that story if you knew the resolution when you began, and you write, in
right. But to me, that's not
mind.
mystery box storytelling. Mystery box storytelling is what happens next, and then next, and next, without having a clear end defined. And I believe it's when it came to like Lost, wasn't it that the writers of the show saw people guessing what the next step or the end was going to be? Some of them were correctly guessing it, so the writers ended up changing the ending.
Oh, did they really?
That's what I had read.
This is funny because I had this thing with my wife when we were watching Lost, and she got tired of it. She's like, they're just making this stuff as they go along. And I was like,
that's mystery box.
Right. And I'm just like, they can't. You can't have this is a huge budget show. They had to have started this thing with a story Bible, right? This had to have had a plot, and you can't just make this. And then we got to the last episode, and I'm like, she was right.
Yep, just making it up. I could see that what they were doing. It's like, this is just cheap, carrot dangling. And I was like, I could tell that they're just not going to have a proper resolution. So I was out, done with it. But I mean, the bad media makes me reflect on the stuff we had that was so good in the past. But I guess before we go there, let's actually try and look at some of the bad media of this year, right? Or good media, even just the releases that happened this year. And so, yeah, you're pretty happy with that, Mike? Is it done? Your Wonder Woman?
It's done. Just wrapped it up.
Looks fantastic.
One thing I have been enjoying this year that's come out not through mainstream media but through indies has been Space King. I really like Space King. Really good stuff.
Yes.
Has been posted by Flash Gets.
Praise be to Space King.
They got a fantastic, very, very clever parody of like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer story on their 4th episode, Space King. Really good stuff. Really enjoyed Space King.
And one of the best middle fingers. It's one of the best middle fingers to the insufferable woke fans of 40K as well. Like they came out with a little mini episode where they straight up introduced a female psycho warrior just so Hate Monger could shoot her and say, "You're not canon." I loved it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so the audience wants a close up.
The what?
The audience wants a close up, do they?
Yeah.
Just like that. She has, some impressive tracts of land there, as we say. Attributes. Wonder Woman, depicted in an attractive way. That's just sexist these days, Mike.
I'm down with that.
I mean, I saw
normative.
It
Bring
is
back sexism.
just not even that. Just like normal, beauty standards, like the things allowing men to be attracted to women, and this comes up regularly enough on my feed, right? Where JT just asks, AI to make video game characters attractive, and you see the before.
Especially when there's this sunken-eyed zombie into like a human being.
Like, golly, the difference.
Right.
Since we're on this topic, I dropped the link in the chat. Did you see what they said about the 007 game that's coming out?
I saw one headline that I didn't read. What are they saying about it now?
They used the kiss of death. Modern audience.
Oh, it's DOA, Dead on Arrival. Look at this. IO Interactive says old school Bond would be tone deaf today. Shut up! Get out of here, you idiots! That's what was popular. Old school Bond.
When I wanted tone deaf.
Exactly.
I never thought that we wanted tone deaf and politically incorrect and regular James Bond. Also, I love that studio because they make Hitman. So they did a pretty good job with Hitman. But I don't know why they're going. I guess he's James Bond is too problematic as is.
Yep. As 007 First Light moves the character towards more modern values.
It's saying something because one of their latest missions, you can shoot Jean-Claude Van Damme in the nuts to kill him.
This is the thing. I'm at a point where if I see a company just so blindly pushing the woke ideological propaganda like this to this level, I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. I will never look at this game because I don't review video games as my job, and so I wouldn't look at this with a 10-foot pole. And there is so many movies and TV shows that I would not even take a second glance at because I could see the ideological agenda at play here, and it's just completely co-opted by the woke mind virus that I would not even take a second look at. But because I do review TV shows and movies, there's a lot of shows I do force myself to watch. I should say Gary is forcing myself to watch these days. FNP. He wants us to watch Starfleet Academy, and I'm like, shoot me now. Holy, because that is one that's like so obviously painfully woke. I'm like,
you can tell by how they depicted the Klingon. Like just like a impeccably groomed, gay-looking Klingon.
You know what you should tell Gary about this? Tell him you'll watch it when he finishes his Picard review. That's his Winds of Winter.
Yeah, all right.
I bet people forgot about that.
Oh my gosh, it is so frustrating to see this bullcrap where it's like they clearly hate the property. They're saying old school Bond would be tone deaf today, and that means that they're saying it's problematic, which means saying it's bad. I mean, saying they don't like James Bond. They have no right to be a caretaker of this franchise if they disdain it to this level, and then they're just going to completely mutate it into something that it's not and ruin it. They do not deserve control over these properties. And it also depends what you mean by old school Bond. Are you talking about Pierce Brosnan Bond? GoldenEye Bond, right?
Just Bond getting with hot chicks is like it's not making a statement. It's just old school. He's a dangerous dude, and the hot chicks thirst after him. They used to say that James Bond is the man every woman wants, and every man wants to be. And granted, I don't think anything could have really killed Bond the way Daniel Craig's Run killed Bond. Not just bad movies, but badly representing that particular character.
Well, also, they were very boring.
They were, and he's very unenthusiastic in the role. I think he said in several interviews that like he was never drawn much to the character, and he didn't want to portray him the way he was portrayed in the past, and like he was just doing it for the money. And you could tell his heart was not in it. He was the least masculine, least interesting Bond of all of them, by far the worst. Me and my dad loved watching Bond. He loved Bond. He had me watching it with him growing up, and
so I grew up on Bond. Yeah.
I like those movies, and not all of them are perfect, but
look, I will even say there are even values that Bond represents that I reject as a conservative Christian, right? And that's when you get into the old school Bond. But because let me give you an example. One of the most egregious because Bond, like when you go back far enough, he is a slut. Bond is just a straight guy. Like, and there is on Her Majesty's Secret Service, the most egregious example of this is, and this is so Her Majesty's Secret Service is the one where it has the Australian actor playing Bond for that one movie, his only Bond for that one movie.
That Lazenby?
I forget his name, but he's an Aussie actor.
Yeah.
And he only played Bond for one movie, and they were ready to pay him millions of dollars to keep him as Bond, but he rejected it because like they were trying to force him to do things in his personal life, and it was small things like shave his beard because they wanted him to look like Bond outside of the movies for promotional stuff, and he felt like that was controlling his life, and so he rejected them, and he turned down playing Bond again. It also ruined his career. He got blacklisted after that. But that guy, he was a male model before he was Bond. I watched this documentary on him, and he was also a bit of a male slut too. He suited Bond very well because he just slept around constantly as a male model because he always did these shoots with female models, and so that guy has had an interesting life. But in Her Majesty's Secret Service, right, he goes to the evil guy's compound, and the evil guy has just like beautiful women, as I forget, it's been a long time since I watched this movie, but they're hanging around in this compound, and he goes to dinner, and one of the women writes her room number with lipstick on his thigh under the table. And then so basically all the women have the hots for him because of magical Bond sex appeal, right? And they all give him their room numbers. And so what Bond does is he moves from room to room, sleeping with each one of the girls in the thing, right? And not only that, he purposely he seduces them with the exact same dialogue and lines, where he says to this girl like, "Oh yeah, you know, you're so beautiful," whatever, and then he goes to the next room and says the exact same thing to her to get her in bed, and he just one after another, just like, "All right, Bond, you're laying it on a bit thick there, mate." But that's, I think, like they say, because is that the old school Bond? But even other ones, even older school. So the first film was it Dr. No?
Dr. No. Yeah.
Even in the very first Bond film, he has a primary female protagonist helper that basically, you know, they fall in love throughout the course of the film, and then they get together at the end of the film. And that's the normal kind of course for most Bond films, where there's a female protagonist that kind of helps them along, and then they kind of hook up. And that's the more, you know, I guess, traditional wholesome kind of depiction of the Bond arc, where he just, you know, has a, like, they don't just shack up for the sake of shacking up, where there is something a little bit more meaningful happening under the surface for them to get together towards the end of the film. And even in the Pierce Brosnan era, they actually try to explore it a bit more. And so many of those Bond films are classics. And it feels like by them saying, you know, old school Bond across the board is just, you know, tone deaf, according to today.
Tone deaf is not watching games that have used the whole made for a modern audience fail colossally. Just massive disappointments. Just in this past 12 months alone, we have seen so many games using that same verbiage completely tank. And look, credit to the accounts that have been calling this stuff out, your Grumses and Smash JTs and Hypnotics, for calling out the worst parts of this stuff, and the fact that, hey, it's all, how do I phrase this? They're all using the same language. They all end up with the same bad product, and they all stink. And you just cannot put a good, happy face on these products, because their focus is not on making them fun. Their focus is to try and make a mass marketed product that they think appeals to everybody, but ends up appealing to nobody, because on top of just being woke and insufferable, they're just bad products. And they're contributing to the downfall of AAA gaming, which, if you ask me, cannot come soon enough. It's been happening. It's happening right now. and they've really shot themselves in the foot. I can't feel sorry for these devs when they use this kind of stupid language. They change these things. They put out these bad games that nobody likes. That end up getting forgotten. I mean, who else remembers how great Dragon Age Veilguard went over, right? Concord, DOA within a week of launch. These are the same kind of this is the same kind of language coached into the DNA of these games. And this is going to fail, not just because it's a bad idea of the idea of a young James Bond game and like exploring what he doesn't know how to seduce women in this one. So you're just not going to show that he can't, that he has, a suave mentality. You ask me, the guy kind of looks like more of a young Archer than anything. Archer was a better representation of James Bond than anything.
I need to address chat because they're saying I'm wrong about the Bond who played in Her Majesty's service, and I am absolutely not. His name was George Robert Lazenby. This is the guy this is Her Majesty's Secret Service that he played Bond one time, okay? And he is an Australian retired actor. He began his professional career as a model and an actor in commercials. He had no film acting experience when he was cast for the fictional British spy James Bond on Her Majesty's Secret Service. People saying I'm wrong. What is this?
Wait, hold on. Would that be the first time that? So if he's Australian, he would be the only actor who was not British to play Bond, right?
Possibly. Well, I mean, Australians are kind of like retarded British people, so.
There's a connection there. I know
we're becoming more like Britain each day, and it's in not a good way. And so, interestingly enough, even though like Her Majesty's Secret Service has Bond act like the biggest, womanizer, basically, it's in this film where he actually gets married, that does have a ongoing kind of follow through thing that comes up now and then, where he's very sensitive about the loss of his wife, and so yes, Australians are basically redneck British people. This is the correct, and I say that as an Australian. I get to say it. I get to confirm that is true.
And see here, but by the way, I wanted to show you this. I want to talk about this. I didn't get a chance last time. But this, speaking on all of this, where they kind of the mainstream kind of insists that the main modern audience wants one kind of thing, and that is, the trend of masculine women, feminine men, things like that. Well, here's the trend. Now, here everyone knows the romantasy trend going on right now, where it has all of the mainstream media is trying to pump out all these girl bosses and everything, and you try to attract a female audience into franchises kind of like that traditionally attract men. No one's buying it. The women are not going to go see these movies. They just haven't been. But what has been trending are the romantasy things, the romantasy books. Now, here is a specific and interesting example of that called Alchemized. I talked about this some time ago, and I've been looking more and more into it. Now, Alchemized, it began as a Harry Potter fan fiction.
This is the one that got picked up.
Yeah, this is the one that got picked up for 7 figures. Now, what do you think this book is about? Given by what you think it is about, and what do you think it might be compared to the modern audience?
Oh gosh, Alchemized. So I would say potions have a role to play, and perhaps the potion has some effect or involvement with sexual relations, and either making people fall into the act or enhancing the experience of the act. Am I anywhere around the target there with this?
Sort of. You kind of hit a little bit on the head here. Now, here's what the story is actually about. The story. Now, this is a story. It's a fan fiction. I want to point out, no one made the author write this way. It's not a man who wrote this. Okay. The story of Alchemized is, imagine Harry Potter, the world of Harry Potter. If Harry Potter lost and Voldemort won, and then Hermione is now basically the sex slave of Draco Malfoy. And so, and yes, it's not just like her alone. Imagine Harry Potter plus Handmaid's Tale. That's what Alchemized is.
Oh my gosh!
And by the way, Draco Malfoy is secretly a good guy in this one, but they're trying to figure out like her memories. Like, does she have a memory of like a that could tear down the evil society of necromancers and things? And look at the ratings: 131,000 ratings, 27,000 reviews. This is where everyone is. And what is it about? This is where everybody, on all things being equal, this is the kind of story that is voluntarily being written on the author's own accord. And this is the thing that's drawing in the eyes of the actual audience, not some hypothetical modern audience. This is what people actually want to read. Okay, this is not what they
about sexual abuse and sex slaves. And
I'll point out 99.9% of those are women.
Yeah, this is women's literature porn.
The thing is that's what's so interesting about this whole thing. The mainstream media has insisted that people enjoy XYZ when the reality is pretty much the opposite. This is not girl boss, girl power time. This is not the feminine weak man obeys, and this is Hermione basically becoming the slave of Draco Malfoy. That's what people. That's what the audience wants to read. They want to read strong, powerful men.
Can we? This is what a lot of lonely women want to read. This isn't what men want to read.
I'm just gonna say it. This is already a better plot than Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I have heard
Harry Cursed Child is awful.
Bad.
Harry Potter the Cursed Child is basically almost a fan fiction of itself. It's like, what if Voldemort had a Mary Sue daughter who was super cool?
But I honestly can't believe Rowling actually did write that. I'm like, what?
It was like a troll on her part. But I'm not saying this is bad or good. I'm saying this. I want to bring up as an example of like, this is what people actually want to read, as opposed to what people are insisting that people want to read. So this is if you look at the organic flow of interest, it's here. It's these dark, conflicted romances, the twisted connections between people, the hopelessness, the conflict. Same thing with Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale begins and it's a dystopia. So it's about overcoming these things. It's about they're actually having conflict, which a lot of these modern day movies do not have. It's just about the character being awesome for like an hour and a half and then winning in the end. And then everyone learning how awesome they are the entire time because they foolishly thought that she was normal or something.
You know what I think is
kind of like the Cursed Child?
Because these romantasy books have such like explicit sexual content, right? And it's all really problematic stuff, like really abusive. Some just completely glorify rape, right? In this romantasy genre, and then you got the bestiality stuff where it's like the milking farm minotaur stuff. It's like really just creepy things, right? And this is female sexual, romance content. That's what this is made for.
It's their power fantasy. Their power fantasy is a male that is much stronger or dangerous and more
that is completely devoted to them and will do anything for them.
Yeah, exactly. Because keep in mind the Draco Malfoy character in this scenario he has a sprawling mansion. He is filthy rich. He's handsome. He's tall. He's wearing
they love that power imbalance.
Like he's basically like a vampire. So it's like that's the character, and also he's secretly good. Keep that in mind. Secretly good. So
I can fix him mentality. The whole, they love the bad boy, but they can kind of fix him stuff at the end.
So again, I'm not saying this is bad or wrong. I just want to point out that this is the stuff that people actually want to read versus what we're told people want to read. Yeah,
this is what.
But there is what I think is the male opposite of this, right?
Isekai.
Conan the Barbarian.
Not only
a harem
isekai is the male opposite of this.
Yeah, exactly. Men have it. Men have their own stories just like this, except it's for men. It's like you get what was the usual isekai scenario? You're a loser in the real life. You have no friends. You get hit by a truck coon. Boom! You get thrown into a fantasy world where your one weird obsession is the key to everything.
Yes, and then through the course of events, you naturally get like multiple cute women
Assigned to you, essentially.
either bound or devoted to you, and like, and so this is a pattern in isekais. So in this one, this guy gets 10 lovers. In this one, 17 lovers. This one, 19 lovers. In this one, 24. It's like, oh, holy crap, right? I don't know what this one, 17 billion plus. It's like, what the heck?
It's a lot.
That's okay. That's a lot.
This is kind of why anime and manga are winning the West, because it's like the same way Steam is winning the gaming wars. They do nothing except what the audience wants. What they would want, what attracts the audience, and they win. They win by literally doing nothing. Like manga and anime just write their stories, write what they want to write, and people love it because it's normal. It's like relatively like it's relatively like there's no insistence that I'm writing this story because you're supposed to like it. It's like, you like this, so I'm going to write a story that's kind of like people like. Instead of like what the mainstream media does today is kind of reject reality and go, no, you don't like this, you like this. All right, people want this. This is for XYZ audience because they like this. And like, no, we don't. Shut up. Yes, you do.
One of the odd kind of things, like, and I'm not saying this is representative across all of this harem isekai stuff, right? But one of the things that is an interesting contrast between a good portion of harem isekai versus female romantasy. Female romantasy, the sexual relationship between the male protagonist and female protagonist is often really abusive and problematic, and it's laden with so much, like, sexual abuse and even rape, right? But in contrast, this male isekai stuff, the relationship between most of these male characters in their harem is that he is completely devoted to them, and they're basically traditional relationships, except it's polygamist, it's multiple women, but they are completely devoted to him in usually more wholesome, exchange of relationship, and he is completely devoted to them, and he protects and loves them. And so I'm not saying I approve of either, but one actually is far more, I guess, wholesome and has a relationship of protection and devotion, and the other one is laden with sexual abuse and violence, and it's just like, yeah.
Well, also at the point that the romances here, basically isekai is like romance for men, but it's different because the conflict for romance with women is like, the conflict is how the relationship is developing and how it's the rocky road of being together. Relationship for men is like, they're already together. It's basically either de facto or they are actually together, but with the isekai from love interest, love stories for men, it's the conflict is, how do I protect them, as opposed to how is the relationship developing, as guys, that's the boring part for men. So that's why every single time you have an isekai, the love interests are essentially assigned to the main character and he gets to choose. But because the conflict for men is not in development of the relationship, it's protecting the people that he loves.
Yeah, and it's done differently between different. I was like, interesting enough, we have comments where in Rising of the Shield Hero, the main guy thinks of the girls as his daughters, and I've actually seen, I think, the first season, maybe first 2 seasons of Rising of the Shield Hero, and yeah, he doesn't look at the female companions in any sexual way. You can tell that the female companions have the hots for him, but he doesn't kind of reciprocate in that way. But he does have this protective kind of, paternal thing over him. But it is just interesting that in, you could say, the most extreme male fantasy, it doesn't have, like, not in all, but in most, it doesn't have, this problematic sexual kind of stuff. But in the extreme female, fantasy, it's everywhere. And it's just like, I think there is a difference between men and women, I'm not saying all women are like this, but it's just interesting that one is far more problematic if you really want to look at it. Than not. surprised that how did we get all the way onto Isekai? It was all the weird stuff that's happening in the world.
It's talented mind. I can always bring it back to Isekai.
Well, it really can. But I guess, yeah, the takeaway with what LitDev is saying is that people will just gravitate to what they like. And one of the interesting takeaways on both of the Isekai and Romantasy extremes is that they're both like heteronormative, you could say, in a sense. It's like people don't like the gay stuff. Shock horror. And when it gets forced into, mainstream media all the time, people are more than fed up with it. But the other takeaway is that Hollywood they're not past it at all. Hollywood still wants to do this constantly. Stranger Things is a more recent series, and look at what it's pushed,
Yeah, but someone was making the point that this was all filmed and produced when they still thought Kamala was going to win the White House.
Possibly, but then we have things like, I don't know how old or how long.
And by the way, was this one of Obama's projects from the beginning?
I don't know.
That's something I've been wondering a while myself.
Right.
Starfleet Academy.
Ever since he came on part of the creative board of directors over there, so much of this stuff gets pervasive in
everything's got to be gay.
Netflix. Everything's got to be gay and brown, and it's egregious. It's so easy to notice. It's like Netflix just lives up to the meme over and over, and they cannot course correct. It's like, what is your problem, Obama? Why is this what you constantly want to see, brother? You're not escaping the allegations.
Man, the quote tweets of this one are getting around, and this is Valiant Renegade. If we can actually bother seeing it, Grok. Valiant Renegade replied to this one on Variety. This honestly may be the stupidest thing done on TV in 2025, and I watched some of Ironheart for F's sake. I watched all of Ironheart, and talk about PTSD. That one was rough.
The TV show, Ironheart TV show, was so bad. I went ahead and like I had to go ahead and say, like, look, the Riri Williams in the comic book was better, because at least the comic book she made a suit to help people. In the show, she's just a selfish asshole.
Genuinely, she's a villain. She's a criminal from the very beginning. The show was like that. Is it worse than Snow White? I think it is. I'm trying to think what would be the worst piece of media. Ironheart actually might be worse than Snow White. Wow. Because that was next level, that one. But look at what Variety is pushing out. Noah Schnaps says, I was just in tears shooting Will's big scene in Stranger Things season 5, volume 2. It was like a 12-hour day of just that monologue.
Oh, yeah. They said they spent like 12. Imagine listening to that cringe for 12 straight hours.
This shows how
they put more focus on this scene than anything else in the season, and it's kind of starting to show to a lot of people. Like, you put the real focus on what you actually cared about, and everything else kind of became a bit of an afterthought, just from what I've seen.
Yeah,
and read.
It shows you just how disconnected Hollywood and the people making modern media still are, even in the modern day, and they're still going to be trying to produce this crap. Like we've seen signs of them trying to tone down wokeness. I think they're just trying to try and hide it and still push it through. And even though Stranger Things have been in production for a while, you see this stuff coming out. I don't know how long production Starfleet Academy has been, but that looks like a woke dumpster fire. So, 2025 was rough. We got some good few things. Like, what were some of the best things you gentlemen think you've seen this year in 2025?
Landman?
For me at the moment, even though it's like was on the very edge of it, but Landman season 2 is just been a complete standout for me. I'm loving Landman.
I don't even remember.
I really enjoyed Ballerina, oddly enough, even though most people probably I really enjoyed that one. They had everything that we've been asking for. So objectively, It was probably one of the better ones because we've been asking for like okay, female main character, she's an action lead. Okay, what does she does she earn her spurs? Yes, she does. She goes through training. She takes losses, she takes hits, and things like that, and she earns her victory. She gets help from John Wick. She fights John Wick, loses in like 2 seconds, technically speaking. So she fights John Wick. He's respected. She looks up to him. She fights him. She loses a few times to him. Very clear that if it was a duel to the death, she would be dead like in 2 seconds, like this as any other faceless mook that he faces. So it wasn't great. It wasn't as great as any other John Wick movie, but it was up there considering what else came out in 2025.
Yeah, I quite liked the How to Train Your Dragon live action because it was so faithful to the animation, but it did things that, as I said in my review, surprised me that there were certain things that hit harder because it was in live action. And it's a weird balance because there are certain things that hit better in the animation because it was animated, but I was actually genuinely surprised how good How to Train Your Dragon live action was. But it's hard to think of like good stuff, because again, this year has been a blur. On IMDb, just in the releases this year, having a look, this is sorted by most popular, and so this is clearly not an accurate popular, because Avatar: Fire and Ash sucked ass. That was crap, and that's at the top of the list in popularity. Have you guys seen Fire and Ash?
Nope.
I haven't seen any Avatar movies.
I saw the first episode of Pluribus because it was free on Netflix. So
I've heard Pluribus is good, but it's mystery box, and so I'm like, no, let me know how it ends, and then
I've heard nothing happens.
Well, I mean, it's by Vince Gilligan. I don't think they're making it up as they go on.
We'll see. But I have heard good things of Pluribus, and some of these, like Wake Up Dead Net, have heard of it. I've only seen ads for Heated Rivalry on Amazon, and it's basically a gay romance. Marty Supreme. One Battle After Another, I did not watch, but I heard was woke as hell. It was basically Antifa promoting movie or something weird like that. The Housemaid, I have not seen. I've seen ads for it though. Welcome to Derry, I've not seen, but I've heard it's actually half decent. It goes straight. Most modern media, I just do not give a crap about now.
Yeah, I can safely say I didn't see. The only movie I went and saw in theaters this year was The Bad Guys 2 with my kids. And it was all right.
Yeah. Anaconda, I didn't even know this was out. Is that like, I saw some opinions and reviews just today of it. And so, I
also enjoyed Superman. Superman was pretty fun.
I enjoyed it. It's bad, but I still enjoy it. I enjoyed Superman. Copenhagen Test, don't know. Zootopia 2, haven't seen.
I heard that did great though.
I heard it like in the box office has done huge numbers.
I expected it to.
Frankenstein.
That's the first thing I've seen on here. Frankenstein.
Frankenstein is one of the better pieces of media that was released this year.
And I'm glad it led me to actually listen to the audiobook because the audiobook's fantastic.
So that was F1. I've heard is great. I haven't seen it, but this is on my list to watch because I've heard such good reviews of F1, and so good people kind of put it as a contender of one of the best films this year, and so I need to check that one out. Five Nights at Freddy, don't care. Pit, don't like. I heard the Pit is actually decent. TV show again. I'm waiting for like the season to wrap and then continue on before I dive into like TV shows like this. Have any of you seen
that seems a little interesting to me because I do work in the healthcare industry. So I kind of go into a lot of the hospital dramas with a bit of a more critical eye than you often find. I ain't gonna lie. Whenever I see some of the clips from someone, I'm like, this is so over dramatized. It's to the point of comedy. But I can't say much. Like my favorite medical procedure of all time was House. I loved House.
Oh, I love House. House is great. The Rod in the chat, he says Frankenstein is crap and is making a movie on it. All right, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it, the Rod. I've heard some people, they weren't as crash hot on Frankenstein as me. I liked it, but not everyone does. The Running Man, meh. I thought it was like average to bad. Did any of you guys see The Running Man?
Nope.
Not yet.
No, because like, how do you beat the Arnie original? I know it wasn't true to the book, but I mean, come on, I do like that Glenn Powell his star is starting to rise up, and that he seems like he's got a smart head on his shoulders. Like he's avoiding stuff that seems very obviously like it's going to, be an albatross around his career, and he's picking really good leading man spots. So he must have a really good agent, I think.
I enjoyed him in Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick was great.
Yes,
Weapons. Heard Weapons is good. Didn't see it. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning was so stupid. Oh my gosh, that was dumb. My review, I even called it the dumbest movie ever made. That was hyperbolic, but it's close, man. It was so stupid, and that's annoying because I like the Mission Impossible franchise a decent amount.
I've actually never seen any of the movies.
Really?
I know. That's crazy. I just never went out of my way to see them.
First one's good. Second one is like the worst out of them all.
That's what I've heard.
The third one is where it starts to pick up. Third and fourth are decent from memory. But unfortunately, Final Reckoning was...
Which one was the John Woo one?
I don't know.
Is that the third one?
I cannot remember.
No, that was J.J. Abrams, I believe. 2 was might have been the John Woo one.
Dumb, I Love David. Haven't seen him. The Abandons, Dracula. Nope.
Fun fact, that John Woo
I
one,
wanted to see that.
That I haven't seen. I've heard it was average, but that was supposed to be a comedy going back to the irreverent comedies of the past. Sorry, Mike, what were you saying?
I was just saying, it's just a little fun fact about the John Woo Mission Impossible movie. That movie is the reason Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, because the villain in that movie, I can't remember his name, he was cast as Wolverine, and he broke his ankle on the set of Mission Impossible 2, so he couldn't do Wolverine. And then Hugh Jackman got the job.
There you go.
And there you are.
Predator Badlands. I enjoyed it. Not everyone did, but I thought it was all.
It was all right. Like I said, it was like I feel like two movies kind of like crunched together, and part of it was like the pretty interesting, kind of an interesting Predator movie in the direction it was going. The other half was Disney. The Disneyisms really killed that movie for me. It's just where it could have been way better.
I don't know this one. Like SpongeBob movie. I'm so like just do not care about SpongeBob in any way.
I assume it was probably one of the better movies on this list. Actually,
I've heard it was bad for
was
people
bad?
that like SpongeBob, but I can't comment on it.
This is so strange to me. 20 years ago, but if we were already in the 40s, I would have seen at least half of these movies.
Yeah, right. Like so many of these films are, and this is filtered by most popular.
Right?
Like, really? Most of these films do not give a crap about. I'm so checked out on modern media.
I'm right
Superman.
there with you.
That's one I've seen. Superman.
Still haven't seen that, man. I'm kicking myself. I should, but
I mean, it is a bad movie. It is so stupid, badly written, but I enjoyed it. It was one of those enjoyable bad films for me.
I enjoyed it, but it's like I don't think I'm ever going to see it again. Sisu 2 came out. Gosh, I want to see that.
I haven't even seen Sisu 1, but it has such good word of mouth that I'm like, I need to see that.
That what you just passed up, The Mighty Nine, that is one that I am planning to see because I'm kind of tied into. Like, I watched Critical Role Campaign 2, and Mighty Nine is based on the narrative story of Campaign 2, which I hear they really changed a lot of the order of how the story happens. So that's the one with
all the characters everyone loves.
And I gotta tell you, some of the characters really are good. When you distill it down to what these characters are like, some of their backstories and whatnot. I know a lot of people were dogging on Bo the lesbian and the fact she looks like a man. Although she was always kind of looked that way. But a lot of these characters are good with really interesting backstories and personal and issues, and the story of that they go through is, as far as fantasy goes, pretty okay. But from a lot of what I've seen, like this might be way woker than the Vox Machina show, which was good fantasy animation. If you don't mind some of the wokeisms and Tumblrisms that kind of eke their way into the
There's
story.
a ton in Vox Machina.
See,
But
like-
I was there for the violence, and it delivered.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I have an issue with Critical Role just because everyone on it is so woke, and what they've done to
They
D&D. Like,
Yeah, they
To
kind
me,
of
they're
ruined
like-
D&D a little bit because now D&D, because of them, D&D has to have like no racial traits, and they've been
Yeah.
sanitized down to nothing. But
yeah,
the
their fantasy
team-
world, everyone's baseline bisexual. It's campaign 3 was a slog and a bore, and I tuned out of it. And campaign 4, like just hearing the interest of it, like I don't like the DM, I don't like the idea they were going with. I didn't even tune in for the first episodes. I'm checked out of it, unfortunately. Campaign 2, I liked. I went back and binged all of campaign 1. Yeah, so I could talk about that for hours for sure. But man, but even just D&D live plays are kind of starting to lose a lot of popularity, and because so many of them are trying to ape Critical Role, and so many terminally online wokies are drawn to that kind of a show. And you've seen what they've done with D&D. Their D&D tried to mold itself towards that audience, and now we just have this
it's
Aurora
about
Boreas-
ballrooms and
yeah.
it's not D&D anymore, really.
No. Credit to
But
Matt Mercer.
bombs and
He
stuff.
makes those campaigns very interesting and very fun to watch. And I had a great time with a lot of Critical Role campaign 2. But distilled down to a lot. There's a lot of stuff that's going to feel way outdated now that it's finally hitting the animation side. But we'll see how far it goes.
By the way,
we're up
the
to 51.
Sisu 1 and 2 are awesome. They're really, really cool action movies.
Mm.
The main character doesn't talk; he has no lines. It's just that you kind of get what he wants to do. Just by the first one is about him finding a vein of gold and trying to traverse the landscape to get to a bank, but he has to get through like a little band of retreating Nazis to do so. The second one, he's spreading
So
communists.
the vein of gold is the puppy dog
Yeah,
in John
the
Wick.
second one, instead of a vein of gold, it's his house. So
Oh,
he's trying
really?
to transport his house with a big truck and everything across the land, but he's being chased down by some commies that want revenge, and he wants revenge on them. So he's facing Russians. Second one. It's awesome. It's really cool. They do escalation really well. Like it escalates quickly too. Like how is this movie an hour and a half? He's already fighting like airplanes and bombs and stuff.
I need to watch these. I need to watch it. It's on my list. The Fantastic Four was crap. Not as crap as Superman, but not as enjoyable as Superman. I
hate that they finally got Galactus right in that movie, and then they just got so much else wrong. It pissed me off because I remember being pissed off at Rise of the Silver Surfer. Like they got the Silver Surfer 100% right, and then Galactus was just a big space cloud. It was disappointing. And now they got Galactus right, and I have to sit there and
The Silver
stare
Surfer
at Pedro
wrong.
Pascal's mustache face. What a miscast!
Yeah, awful.
Asshole couldn't even shave his stupid mustache because that's his brand.
Yeah. 28 years later was average. Like this Robin Hood was on my radar. Then I found out that of course they've done the whole race swap thing, and I just check out when I hear that that's their agenda behind it.
Oh my gosh, dude, you made me watch, or you didn't make me watch it, but I watched Robin Hood. Your
Prince of
favorite
Thieves
one again.
Oh, Prince of Thieves. Yeah,
Prince of Thieves.
Prince of Thieves very bait.
Still terrible.
You suck. How
Still
dare
terrible. Oh
No.
my gosh. It reminds me of when I watched Tombstone again to see if I was wrong. Terrible movies. I don't
Say
understand.
what?
Still don't get it,
Mike, I do not
No.
trust your media opinions, man.
bro.
How could you say that?
Bro.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is the GOAT. Gosh, you hurt me, Mike.
Thieves is
Soundtrack by
awesome.
Bryan Adams.
The Task, I saw ads for it. It's got Idiot in it. So I was like, nope. Mark Ruffalo, that's him. The Long
yeah,
Walk,
no
don't
thanks.
know it. House of Dynamite, like, don't know it. And these are supposed to be the most popular ones. Wicked for Good. That was painful. I did
I
not.
haven't
like
seen that one yet. Wicked for Good. Is that the last part of the movie? The second part?
Yeah, it was
I assume.
bad. And I thought the first one was actually good, but the second one is bad. Not good. And then The Last Frontier, like so many of these films, I just do not care. Mobland. Oh, I really liked Mobland. Mobland was great. And it's great in the sense that so many of the characters are just awful, but it's so dynamic and engaging about what happens.
Oh, yeah,
characters
that's the
are
Pierce
really
Brosnan
interesting.
one?
Yep.
Oh, that was so good, dude.
Mobland is
That's
really
so
good. But honestly, Landman is better than Mobland. Landman is actually wholesome. It's got some really, like touching stuff in this second season that I was not expecting.
Wholesome.
Oh no, there's a scene between father and son that is really wholesome. That is like, damn.
But I'm saying on the whole.
On the whole, probably not. There is content warning with it, with Landman, but it is really good Landman.
I think I like Mobland better, just because
really?
of the cast. The cast is so phenomenal.
Mobland is up there.
So
Mobland is one of the best. Like Mobland, Landman.
Mobland was almost like Peaky Blinders level.
Don't know many Dexter's I never got into.
You never got into Peaky Blinders? Oh my!
Not Peaky Blinders, no either. Jurassic World Rebirth was so dumb. Holy crap! Like, look, I gotta give it. K-pop Demon Hunters
was really good. I put it in the same category as Labyrinth for like good movies for girls to watch.
Yeah.
This has everything that the Labyrinth has, and I know that they're like super awesome at fighting, but the conflict isn't about them actually fighting. The conflict is about their unification, their friendship, the relationship they have with their fans, and because the demon bad guys don't fight by fighting literally, not really. They fight by popularity, by social conflict. So, and also, I want to point out that the demon pop band are like just straight on examples of incubi versus the succubi for men. They are the tempters. So, and then the whole thing is not to fall for them. She has to reject them. They have to be rejected, and they do in the end. Like, oh, you're just my type. Oh well, she just kills them. So yeah, at the end, it's nice. Like K-pop demon hunter girls killing all the demons, despite the fact that they're attracted to them, no doubt, but they reject them anyway because they're evil. Yeah. And also, I want to point out that there's that side, and then there's the friendship side where they break up their friendship because of the lies and manipulations and things. But they're friends, and they act like friends all the way through the movie. And lastly, they're not afraid to be feminine. They're all aggressively feminine.
Yes, yeah, it was refreshing to see.
I have not seen it yet, but I follow a YouTuber named his channel name is Nick with no K. That he's a Christian YouTuber, and he did a great video that talking about how the movie actually aligns with a lot of very Christian principles. In that it is about overcoming a lot of points overcoming self-shame and things like that. That kind of convinced me to watch it. I just haven't sat down to watch it yet. My daughter did watch it and she liked it, so I was glad for that.
I mean, it was one of those rare things where it's like, holy crap, a non-woke property that actually has some traditional elements in it.
An original.
It is so weird.
You have to get this stuff from Asia.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Where so much of modern media is just still infested with this woke propaganda slop, and then you get these odd little nuggets here and there that actually is surprisingly based. And K-What Demon Hunters was one of them, and One Piece live action was also one of them. Where it's like, holy what, shocking. But it seems like it's always usually because they're tied with some element of Asian production. And have you heard recently like that Japan is rejecting Western influence in anime? They're like, no, anime will stay Japanese. And everyone...
They kind of figured out that the reason why it's so popular is because it's Japanese and didn't pander to the modern audience.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, thank goodness, because anime is one of the few bastions of sanity these days. And when I say that, I'm not saying it's all perfect or great or anything like that. But when it comes to some actual traditional heroism and traditional kind of values that we love in media, you get a lot of it in anime these days. And there are some just bangers like My Hero Academia and Frieren. Like these are like really good, positive, uplifting stuff that has role models in it.
My daughter and I watched Frieren this year, and we both loved the absolute hell out of it. It is fantastic,
really good.
It's great as a straightforward fantasy. It's also great as in some ways a bit of a subversion of a typical fantasy. We are going to watch that. We're anticipating its second season, although I was a little disappointed to hear it's only It's only 10 episodes long, apparently.
Really? I'm looking forward to it still. I hope it's good.
I watched the first season. A lot of things I liked about the first season. The demons, of course, being an element in there. Like they developed the language to manipulate, which everyone got angry over, and it was awesome. But second of all, I really enjoy the character.
Sorry, Lindev, I need to jump on that. That is just such a hilarious self-own.
That's us. How dare you?
Leftists is like they're identifying with the demons that use language to deceive. Why are you doing that?
Interesting.
Why are you exposing yourself with that?
What an interesting thing to say.
Exactly. It's just so funny that they constantly self-own themselves by identifying with the villains and the evil entities. It's like, why are you identifying with the space bugs in Starship Troopers or the demons in Freered? It's like,
and then they had the audacity to go, the right wing is trying to claim Freered. We gotta reclaim it as woke. Like, you guys cast it off in the first place. You guys threw it away. We picked it out of the garbage, polished it up, and made it awesome. And now you want it back. That's kind of what's happened. And we got to make it woke. Like, no, you don't. Mm-hmm. Also, I like the character Dankin. Dankin is pretty awesome in Freered.
We gentrified it.
Sorry, Freered is. You threw it away, guys. You threw away HWs. It's ours now. All right, not getting it back.
But there is a lot of base stuff in anime, and even not like explicitly, just like traditional male strong heroes, right? I mean. It's not super deep. Which one is it?
I got this for my daughter for Christmas.
Look at that. That's
also was it Freeman? Did you see that news article where that guy that kind of stepped in to help people in real life because that's what Himmel would have done?
Yeah,
that was great to see.
I mean, Solo Leveling, I also really liked, and it doesn't go super deep. It's just like a male character who's tough and gets stronger, where he basically, he works out and beats up, monsters and things. But damn, the animation and fight scenes are just so fun in it.
One more thing about Freeman is that there's that article about the kid helping people out because Himmel would have done so. Now compare that to the article or the story that came out during Disney Star Wars, where that kid let himself get beat up because violence is not the Jedi way. So it's so
right. Of course, Jedi are slicing everything up.
I need to let myself get beat up. That's the right thing to do.
That's a false interpretation of the Jedi. That's a Disney Star Wars.
I'm pretty sure what happens. Like the only thing that evil needs to succeed is for good men to do nothing. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So let's keep going. I don't know. Tron Ares sucked. I saw that one.
Minecraft movie, the greatest movie ever. Look at that. It's got a 5.6, 148,000.
Boy, that really disappeared into the void really quick.
Yeah.
No,
it made $1 billion. What do you mean?
It did, but it was still crap.
Best movie, Shad. Best movie that's ever been made.
One of
that movie was a lot of fun. I like
didn't you get to the chicken jockey part? You must have not seen the chicken jockey part.
That
was the best
of memes.
The best scene. That was forget all of those great scenes. Forget the Luke, I am your father scene and crap like that. We have chicken jockey now.
Chicken jockey is the height of media these days. But look at there's your one ballerina there.
Yeah, there go ballerina. See, ballerina was so good. It's better than the greatest movie of all time, Minecraft. That's how good it was.
Eddington didn't watch Hunting. No. The Naked Gun. I saw most of it.
Naked Gun was pretty funny. I liked it. It's not memorable or anything, but it was. You will not regret watching it once.
I appreciate what they were trying to do with it, going back to old school, comedy, and so that I can get. Just only some of the jokes landed for me, really.
Let me say this: if somebody wants to watch a really good spoof movie, there's one that's flown under the radar for almost 30 years. Have you guys ever heard of Loaded Weapon 1?
Of course, yeah. Yes, I have. It's got
Loaded
Emilio
Weapon 1
Estevez in it
movie.
and Samuel L. Jackson. And is that the one? And it is a spoof of it's a spoof of Lethal Weapon and
a lot of other 90s movies of that era.
Yep.
And it was hilarious.
I remember laughing my head off at it as a kid. Yep, Loaded Weapon. How to Train Your Dragon, I thought was actually really good. Nobody 2.
Nobody
I
2
didn't-
was good. I like Nobody 2.
Oh,
Nobody
I
2 is
didn't
pretty
know
good.
that. Man, I gotta write
It's
these
a-
down.
So Nobody 2 subvert the usual trope. You know, like that the whole thing. Usually in action movies, you have if he has a wife, it's like, oh, they're on the outs, and then he starts killing people again and getting to action movie stuff, and then they get back together, and then the sequel comes along. Oh, they're divorced now, and everything. They subvert that. They have some trouble going on, but it's not about I hate you. It's about like, oh, he's never around anymore because he has to feel the repercussions of the previous movie by paying off the people that he stole a lot of money from. But it's they go on, so that's why they go on family vacation to get some some quality family time together, and then they just stumble into a whole other mess of shenanigans, which is pretty awesome. So it's a pretty good action movie. A lot of wholesomeness. We got Doc Brown back being cool.
Okay, cool.
His brother
Christopher Lloyd again.
The Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. I like Thunderbolts. I like that one a lot.
Actually, you mean the new Avengers?
I hated
they had the absolute best rendition of Sentinel ever made.
No, don't give me that. How dare you? I was pissed off at Thunderbolts on multiple levels, and what they gave us a wet fart of a Sentinel, and that pissed me off. I like Sentinel, and I like both comic books that they were attempting to rip off. I'm a fan of, and I read the whole runs of the whole run of the original Thunderbolts and the whole run of the New Avengers. Loved them both, and they did a crap version of both in that movie, and I pissed off it. I hate it.
But look at our 7.1. It's better than Minecraft, which says a lot.
Wait, what was that title? If I had legs, I'd kick you.
Yeah.
What?
Nice.
I don't know. Like, my takeaway from all that is modern media sucks ass, and only that you get the occasional little gem here and there, like K-pop Demon Hunters, and there's still some good stuff from anime, and what really strikes me is that old school media is so much better. I am still doing the rewatch of Stargate SG-1, the family. We're up to season 3 now, and they're loving it. My second eldest son, he's like, there's moments where he's just laughing out loud at it's the little one-liners that the Captain O'Neill says all the time. Where he just drops these little comments, and my son is just laughing his head off at him. And of course, the writing is brilliant. The character work. It's just, SG-1 is one of the best. SG-1. Ah, man, that is right. McSkittles. It is a treasure.
The old stuff's good, and now I get this a lot when you hear people complaining about what movies today sucks, TV today sucks, and yeah, we got a lot of old stuff, and you hear a lot of people say that I don't need new things. I've got the old stuff that I can go back. I got old books I can go back and read, old TV shows. Mm-hmm. I agree. We got old stuff that's good. But I'm also of the belief that we shouldn't leave the future to be entirely paved by people that ideologically disagree or, if in most cases, hate us. So that's one reason I'm such a big advocate for indies and indie authors, indie comic creators, and whatnot. I got my little pile behind me, Shad, if you want to get to it, of the books that I read this year. Most of them are indie books.
Yeah, let's get to them now. Because what are some of the standouts ones for you that you really enjoy?
Let's see here. Well, I'll turn them this way so I don't review a lot of them. Some standouts, we had some good ones. A couple of novellas that I got. This guy is Yuval Kordov. He writes military science fiction, mech stuff. Orders of Magnitude is it's a simple concept. It's Catholic space marines on the moon. And there's a touch. It's good. It's tense. It's got a touch of cosmic horror to it, and religious supernatural elements. It was over way too quick, but apparently he's working on a sequel. So again, novella, so not too hard, not too difficult. If you are in the BattleTech side of YouTube, you probably know this guy, Mage Leader, and Hell Followed With Him. This is a Western about a reverend who is a former Confederate soldier facing down a guy whose gang is terrorizing a town, who is also a former Confederate soldier, and they have opposing viewpoints on what they're supposed to do after the war. This action-packed, great dialogue, good stuff. Really did like this one. Sticking with, I'm not done with this one, but sticking with Western fantasies, I got Cold Silver for Souls by booktuber Tori Tekken. I'm only a little bit into this one, but this one is pretty good if you even just like the idea of a fantasy Western. And look at the cover. How cool is that cover look, though?
The cover, like, that looks great. And you know what kind of turned me on to Western fantasy was Mistborn Era 2, where I was surprised at how fun, Western fantasy could really be. And it's like, okay, I'm open to this, because I was never, like, my dad loved Westerns and I was never fully on board. I was like, give me the swords, man, give me the medieval stuff. But when you add fantasy to Western and having fantasy magic gunplay, I'm like, okay, that's some fun stuff.
Well, when you think about it, both of them are fantasy. The Western genre as it's presented in media is basically a fantasy version, a mythological version of what actually happened. And that's why the genres mix so well, and I love them as well. There's this guy, I don't know, but this guy's a little dude. He wrote this. Guy there?
I think I heard that guy before, actually. I think I have that book.
Somebody named Ad Brooks, whatever.
Yeah,
your book really entertained me. It stuck with me for a long time, more than a lot of books that I have ended up reading. So, kudos, man. This was really enjoyable. Not to gas you up too much. We were talking about romantasy earlier. Now, listen, there should be a term for the female authors and female readers that actually do a good job when it comes to representing their genres. But I do like to read outside my given genre. This one was a cover by for me. It was by an Instagram and book talker named Shiloh Breyer. This was a romantasy, but this is a clean one, and this was a funny one with good characters called Hopeless Necromantic. This is not the current cover, unfortunately. It is now on its third cover because it got picked up by a trad publisher. She's an indie who's managed to get into a trad publisher and got a deal, so she's got a new cover on it that it kind of fits the genre a little more, but this one was always my favorite.
Just on that note, right, I have like 2 to 3 trad publishing options for my next book that I could pursue if I wanted and get it traditionally published. I just don't want to. I just feel like
I don't blame you.
Yeah, you lose control. It takes longer to get paid. They might just cancel you, and so I'm just like,
but if they do cancel you, that'd be better for you because you're not dependent on them. Your stuff is mostly independent. It's like you could. Oh, they canceled me. See, it's proof that they're still bad guys. They're still evil over there.
But sorry to cut you off, but yeah, I was like,
no, it's cool.
It's just something that's always on my mind because there is appeal to it. But at the same time,
for those of us, Shad, that kind of grew up in the era of being traditionally published was the dream, right? Mm-hmm. It's hard to kind of come into the acceptance that we're in an era where entertainment is so decentralized that even being traditionally published, for all the good it might do your career, just from a strict sales standpoint and a being known standpoint, it's almost better to stay indie in a lot of a lot of authors' cases. I don't blame anyone for wanting to take that to try and elevate their profile. By all means, get that bag. Mm. But when you hear how little they actually market your books and how few sales newer traditionally published authors get, like I think we're in an era where we're not going to get another Brandon Sanderson unless they throw a lot of money behind them.
Yeah, and recently, like I hadn't checked my sales figures in years because I'm just like, it'll come in as they come in. Happy to just keep going along as it's going on. And only like last month, I got onto my ACX account, which is the Audible account for your order books, and it has the tracking data. And this time I decided, I'll just check what the total sales of the audiobook is. So I did total, and I was shocked at the total. I was like, oh, holy crap, really? To date, I've sold over 40,000 audiobooks of my novel, and that's just audiobook. And the trend that has been that has followed is that I have usually sold half as much print and half as much ebook, and that's not including the graphic novel sales of the novel as well. And so it actually means the total sales of my book now are actually in the realm of 80,000 copies total, combining all mediums. And that's indie. Most traditionally published, like novelists could only dream of selling 80,000 copies of their book. Do you know the average sale amount for like the average fantasy traditionally published book?
It's like 30.
It's like 1,000, I think, is the average. 1,000 to 5,000, and that's across their lifetime. The lifetime sales of the average fantasy book. And so I've done that independently, and that's through my own marketing, ability. And I have not needed traditional publishing at all to find now after many years of selling my book, to have a figure that is like, holy friggin' crap. I was not even aware that I was close to that. Actually, I thought it was half that. Like I was saying, oh yeah, I think I've sold around 40,000 copies. When I found out that was the total of just the audiobook, I was like, friggin' hell. And it just goes to show you that, traditional publishing expects the author to market their own books anyway. And so if you're the one selling it, you can do it yourself and take, more of the profit. And so
I started continuing the Chronicles of Airfall, but in short story form. I know that Patrick Rothfuss did that, to much to the chagrin of his audience.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I got the third book done, but it's not the third book. It's some other side stories.
And I've got it actually.
Doors of Stone or something like that?
The Slow Regard of Silent Things.
Slow Regard of Silent Things. That's what it was. The third book is called Doors of Stone.
When I
theoretical book that may or
when
may
I
not
return
exist.
to Everfall is planned to be a trilogy when I return to it. The first book is a standalone with sequel potential, and so I'm happy to let it sit. My next book is a whole new universe, medieval fantasy, and it's big. It's going to be like 200. I want to do All Star too, but maybe in the future. Sorry, John, I cut you off. I'll let you finish.
No, it's okay. You were asking for standouts. I had a couple. I moved this around a little bit. So, standouts. If you like Brandon Sanderson, Robert Jordan, and you want something that reads a lot like that, The Seventh Cadence by my good friend Jim Wilburn. This is fantastic and as professional as possible. Like this, I don't like to use the term. It's good enough to be traditionally published because I've seen plenty of indie authors that are good enough, but this is definitely a standout. It's been a while since he's written the sequel for it though, but it's because he's busy with real life. But this one was a good one. This one stuck with me. It was a great choice. If you like dark Game of Thrones style military fantasy, this series is on its third book, The Hellborn King by Christopher Brenning. If you want unapologetic R-rated fantasy, this right here. No sexual content. It's all violence.
You know what's standing out to me? Like, so these are all indie books you're sharing, right?
Yes.
So many of the covers are better than trad publish covers.
This is what led me into the indie spaces. They have picked up the ball where Trad Pub has dropped, and Trad Pub has been making basically shelf trophy covers, artisanal covers. They look pretty, but they don't communicate the genre the way it did when I was growing up, and I walk into Walden Books and just see all these beautiful Larry Elmore covers and things like that. That's what I love about the indies, and that they have taken the ball. And hey, look, I did that with my book.
Probably because if you're an independent, you get to pick what the art is on the cover.
Yes.
And when you're with the publisher picks it.
I had to do that with my book as well. So. Next one, if you like unapologetic ultra violence, like an 80s action movie, Sledge versus the Labyrinth by Nick Horvath. This is almost exactly what it looks like. It's a dude who fights with a sledgehammer, and he fights off. The Labyrinth is this series of dark web assassins sent after his ex-girlfriend, and it is just, it's 100% testosterone, just pure 80s action movie adrenaline, and I love this book. If you see this getting turned into a series, because I heard he was shopping it around, do not pass it up. And it's
Alrighty.
it's not that big of a book either.
Yep.
Best science fiction book that I read last year and in quite some time, Theft of Fire by Devin Erickson.
Yeah, I've heard of that one,
He is.
actually.
This is such an interesting book. This is such a great book. I can't glaze this book enough, guys. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy gets characterization down to an exact science, and it presents space in a way that I haven't really seen in a lot of science fiction. It presents space as what it really is. He calls it a void that is waiting outside the hole, waiting to kill you, and makes the idea of getting, launched into space. We see it in movies and TV, in science fiction. Someone gets launched into space, like, oh no, they holler and they're gone. It's like, no, he kind of delves into the horror of what it would be like to actually have that actually happen. And you fear for these people if something happened when, they were exposed to the vacuum of space. The vast distances of space is really well represented. I could go on way too much about this guy, about that. This one was good. If you like superheroes and you like science fiction, Wistful Ascending by J.C.M. Byrne. It's about a retired super soldier who's basically Superman level powered. And this is a lot of fun. He's working on his 9th book at the moment. So this one was, you got sentient spaceships. You've got Russian space bears. Ties in a whole lot of threads that collide at the end. And it's action packed. I like that. And last book that I'm working on, just a little shout out because I'm not done with it yet, but this is fantastic. That got put together. You might know this guy, Shad.
I'm waiting for mine to come in the mail. I guess the international shipping it takes longer.
Literally waiting.
Yeah. I know Gary used a ghostwriter for this, but he used a good one, and it really shows through in this. I cannot read this without hearing Gary's voice in my head.
Oh, great! I'm waiting for mine, and I'm looking forward to getting it. But that is awesome. And John, you're doing the indie sphere proud, mate. And also let's not forget John's own book, because he is also a novelist as well. People can check.
If you like Dungeons and Dragons style epic fantasy with an old feel that is kind of feels like you're just on an adventure with a bunch of friends, I got this. I've got a second book called The Lionheart coming out, and that's going to be a caped superhero in a fantasy world story set in the same world as this. And I was actually writing on it in the hours up until we went on stream, and I'm almost done writing it. I'm so anxious to get that done and edited.
You'll get it done. You'll get it done before me. I need to get back into the mindset because this last month is just totally kick me out. But I'll get my next novel done this year. That's what'll happen. And it's close. I'm at the point, John, where I was like, the end is in sight. It's like,
that's where I'm at, man.
Yeah.
I got stalled. I was a little bit ashamed because I got stalled on so many chapters that I didn't actually plot out and plan for. But I'm like, these are key and these communicate something important and all that other, inside baseball writer stuff. And I'm like, it just took forever to push through. And now I'm like, the end is in sight and I just cannot stop writing now. So I'm really anxious. I'm really anxious to get to editing it and so I can get it out. I've shown you the cover. The cover's done.
Oh yeah,
we've got a lot of other stuff to do, and then I'm already I'm already plotting 6 books ahead, different series, different stuff. Just I always felt that the best thing that I can contribute to, our side of the culture war, is not so much my commentary, which you and Gary, Geeks and Gamers, you guys all do that so much better than I do. I always felt my best contribution was to create something. Like Mike does, like Lit Dead does, create something, put it out there and say, you don't like what's out there, just like I do. Here's something you can enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And doing a great job, mate. So let's catch the super chats and start to wrap things up. McSkittles, member for 8 months. We appreciate you, man. He says, hello, Shad. Did you see the Odyssey trailer? And much better AI historical accurate version. I did, actually. I mean, man, that's a longer subject, McSkittles, that I'd like to almost do a reaction commentary on. Remind us next stream, and maybe we'll be able to get to it because that would be a fun segment to talk about a bit. Because I want it to be more historically accurate, but it's also in the execution what you want to do with it. Lady Fossilot, $5 says, Happy Year's End, panel and chat. New drop. Have you seen the premiering 2 episodes of the Pendragon Cycle? Any plans, thoughts, critiques, review? It's on my radar. I'd like to watch it, but I cannot be stuffed paying for the Daily Wire plus whatever membership thing to get access. They're going to need a better distribution method because I don't want to get Daily Wire whatever thing is. To me, it holds nothing that I would want to watch regularly. And I know about supporting independent stuff, but that's not it. That's not the one.
Yeah, that's the one bad thing about the indies is indie TV and indie movies are, man, to make it really good and impactful, you've got to have a great budget.
You know,
and
if I hear great reviews and good word of mouth, I would give it a look. Okay, because I appreciate that they've put so much money into it and stuff, but I think their flaw is their distribution method. Their distribution method is going to limit the accessibility and people watching it massively. All right, to try and get people to sign up for a whole subscription service just to watch a single show. So, like if they distribute,
I pay for HBO just for the Game of Thrones.
There's the thing. If it is that good, if the word of mouth is like this is one of the friggin' best things ever, that would get me to, pay some temporary, subscriptions to get it. But at the moment, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot with how they're distributing it. I wish them luck. I hope it's good, and if it's good, then it might win me over. Walla via mala the 50R says Happy New Year and thank you for the big super chat, by the way. My New Year wishes are the Rings of Slop gets cancelled. Yes, that's probably going to come out this next year. Hollywood goes bankrupt. We can only dream. And free speech reigns supreme in the West. That's not where Australia's going. You have great dreams, pure, wonderful, ideal dreams there. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to come to pass. Ideally, all 3, but I'd be happy with just one of them. Me too, brother. Me too. But man, Australia has new hate speech laws coming in, which are already being used against innocent Australians in the wake of the Bondi shooting. It's a disaster. Such a mess. Liam Dell for $2 says, just remember Netflix also pushed cuties. Yes. Yeah.
I canceled them for years because of that.
That was so disgusting. Nathan Cassidy for $4.99 says, for me, it's not the gayness I have an issue, but the celebration as if it's the second coming of Christ. At this point, it's anything but. Yeah, I'm 100% agree with you, Nathan, there. Liam Dell again for $10 says, a podcast I listen to, Welcome to Night Vale. I still enjoy it, but I can't help but notice that every new continuous relationship happens to be a gay one every time. It's not going away. There certainly seems to be an agenda being pushed. You can't miss it. Claude Gray for $10 says, was Shad a good boy for Christmas? And watched The Three Musketeers with Michael York and Oliver Reed, etc., etc. Michelle York?
Michael York.
Michael York.
Yeah, I remember. Oh God,
I did not.
Logan's Run.
Oh, that's old school. Old school. No, I did not see that, sir. I guess I wasn't a good boy. Nathan Cassidy again for $19.99 says the main issue people have with feminist, gay, black characters in media is the forced participation of the writers' fetishization of those archetypes. They've essentially become the vegans for entertainment. It's pushing so much, and no one has ever had a problem with black characters, female characters, and I'd even say gay characters, right? It's the way that there's just the constant push, and
it's kind of like if you played sports, and it's like you're a lose or win, and the winning team, it's this good game, it's and they all go home, nothing bad happens, everyone's a good sport about it, they'll get a beer or whatever. But it's different when it's the same sport, same thing happens, one team wins, one team loses. But it changes dramatically when the winning team just starts, pushing it in your face, making fun of you. Ha ha, we won. It's the same thing with the media. These things probably wouldn't matter to most people, but the way it's written, it's like a victory. It's like in your face, haha, we got this thing in this show, and we're turning it down for our agenda.
Especially when they can replace a traditional character, especially a straight white male character, for one of their diversity replacements. They celebrate it like it's a win and a dig at just regular people that just want their entertainment to be what it was. What's this? What you're sharing?
I think you might enjoy this little commercial with Santa in it. That's from Space King. Space Santa you'll ever see.
We're not going to get pinged for copyright, are we, Litiv?
I don't think so. It's on YouTube.
Have you been a good boy or a heretic?
Yeah, are you been a good boy or a heretic?
The right questions. Okay.
That's based off the real Saint Nicholas.
Most base Santa ever.
I've been a good boy.
And have you been saying any slurs?
Lots and lots.
Good.
Lots and lots.
Good boy. Lots and lots, yeah.
Whoa.
What legion are you going to paint him?
Not a misfit.
Not a misfit, because they're losers and heretics.
Misfit? Why is that?
They're freaks and heretics.
Freaks and heretics.
Kill the freaks. All right, those the freaks, all those things they're not the same, not in the norm. They're heretics. They must be exterminated because we love Space King, and Space King hates freaks and heretics.
Yes, they are. How about a Star Defender? Merry Kingsmas.
Space King. It's alien cookies.
I need to watch Space King. It comes up a lot, and I've heard people.
You got the best part out. The way you can tell he's dubbed over the munching of the cookies.
Have you been saying lots of slurs?
Nathan Cassidy again says, the real fantasy and unrealistic elements of those isekai is the man thinks he has the stamina and mental fortitude to keep multiple women happy. Like that whole isekai thing confuses me. It's like, hang on, is polygamy coming back? Were Mormons just ahead of the curve too soon? It's like, are people all getting on board with this now? I'm confused by it. But it's interesting where they're like, the modern world is push so many kind of divergent relationship structures that they're okay with, and then they're like, I don't know, some weird thing about polygamy. It's like I just get confused by it. Wheel of Time also is actually kind of like, it's not isekai, but he ends up with 3 girls married to him, and so. It has those elements.
What are they gonna say? Who's gonna tell him no? He's the Dragon Reborn.
So I was like, it's interesting how they played it out there, because these 3 girls loved him so much that neither of them wanted to give him up. So they came to terms and decided to share him in the end. And he was just like, this is all really weird. And what are you women on? Isn't this is like dirty, degenerate? I feel like a dirty old man. You can't. And they're like, no, Rand, we've decided.
Probably the most fantastic and unbelievable part of the books, to be honest.
the women choosing to share. Male fantasy. There we go, right? Okay, and then we have Liam Dell, $5 says, never found the appeal of My Hero Academia. When I want to watch school kids with powers, I just put on a certain magical index again. I haven't heard of that one, but I love My Hero Academia.
A certain magical index is kind of interesting because there's basically a few series put together. A certain magical index, there's Railgun, and then there's like a couple of more, but they all interact with each other. So certain magical index, it's basically a science versus religion. Like for example, one conflict is the Gregorian chant. Now there's like a science atheist guy who's able to put together a lab that can brainwash all of the students into as a defensive measure, have them all recite facts all together. Now, what this is like an atheist version of the traditional Gregorian chant. What a Gregorian chant is in this context is all the people sing at the same time. It's like 10,000 or so people sing the same song, and it's able to enchant knights and stuff with powers. But that's religious perspective. So there's like the Church of necessary evil going on, and there's science going on. So it's very interesting. It's like a lot of conflicts put together, and there's psychics. They live in a city made by, like, I think, Aleister Crowley or something. It's crazy, but it's like religion and science kind of clash. It's pretty interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
And then we have Black Dog Mercs for $5 says, Happy New Year, Shad. Hope the channel grows this year. We will see. My prediction is that unfortunately, I think YouTube is going to get worse. I think that's the trajectory. Worse for traditional creators, because I've talked about it ad nauseum at this point. YouTube sees a future in the mainstream and with more easily consumed, easily produced content. Shorts has been pushing like wildfire, and it's been screwing over traditional creators constantly. Like old school creators like me have been banning millions of accounts, literally millions of accounts, and I don't see it getting any better. So maybe X will be the thing where something gives us an alternative, but I'll still be around, and it's all because of you viewers, the supporters. You are the ones that keep us going. So thank you, everyone who has joined us for this Culture Crusade. We'll begin to sign off. Gentlemen, anything that you want to say as we sign off? Shout out. John, what do you got going on, man? Mate?
Kind of a bit of a year sucking for me. I didn't get my second book done. My YouTube channel got nuked along with like 7 million other people's. But I'm always hopeful for the future. Never give up, never surrender, never stop writing. And I will never stop that myself. And I hope that every indie creator going into 2026 has the best year that they have ever. And that's all I got, man.
Cheers, mate. Lit Dev, you got something to share?
Oh, yes. I now officially have a Substack ready to go.
Nice.
Writers should have Substack. So I made one. I got 2 articles up there now. One is enough with misunderstood villains. I go to like misunderstood villains versus sympathetic, and how they can be done right. How they've been the misunderstood villain. I guess you could say title kind of like dismisses accountability as opposed to giving them a trajectory of story and change. But I intend to go further with this. These are free articles. I tend to have to review some indie work, especially those that you're not supposed to. Else, otherwise you'll get like some backlash or whatever. So I'll do those, and those will be exclusive. So check those out.
Awesome. And we actually have there's a new super chat and a question I think is worth quickly trying to address. Mariki. A confusing username. Hello, Shad. I'm a writer and I'm wondering where to find agents or publishers. I get robot replies and scams. Not trying to spam the chat, just trying to get spotted. Too broke for super chat. Sorry. Well, we appreciate you viewing us and happy to. So this is the thing, right? I have kind of not on board. Like jumped off of the trying to get traditionally published thing. I go indie, but it's still a path for people to follow, and I just looked up the literary agents of my favorite authors and tried to query them first. And one of the literary agents I queried was Brandon Sanderson's agent, Joshua Bilms, from Jabberwocky Agency. And he actually replied and was interested in taking up my book. And at the end, he wanted to represent everything. And I was like, at the time, I was only looking for foreign language translations. And so I actually chose not to go ahead with him, even though he was willing to take on everything. And I had the opportunity to have one of the biggest New York literary agencies pick up my book. And like I said, I kind of turned it down. But that's the path I went for the big boys. I was just like, all right, who are the biggest, my favorite authors? Who are their agents? And you can usually be rest assured that if they are an agent of a big author, that they're got a good track record at least. And outside of that, you just look for the ones that have a good track record of getting actual publishing deals. So look up their past works, basically, and then look up what they're interested in. It's interesting. Like I did it. I went through the thing to looking for agents when I was interested in doing it. That was years ago, and I got some success, but I ultimately decided to do indie, and I'm I guess that decision is confirmed constantly ever since making it. John, I'm not sure if you got anything else to add on that.
No, the only thing I can add to that is from what I've seen seems to be the trend that the publishers are heading towards is that they're looking for big in some ways they're looking for stuff that has a big fan base and then bringing them over. One book series that you're going to see I think coming up this year or the year after is Dungeon Crawler Carl. Matt Denneman, he was independent first, big fan base, a lot of books, and he got picked up because he had a big fan base that was interested in his stuff. And there's a lot of indie authors that have gotten picked up that are big on their profiles. Charlotte Breyer, the Hopeless Necromantic, she was fairly big on Instagram, the Bookstagram side of books, and so she got picked up by a small publisher over there. So you're going to end up seeing that, I think, a lot more. The more ways
what you're saying is you got to get big enough to not need them.
Yeah. elevate your profile somewhat as best you can, because that's what they want. They're in a precarious position where they're bringing on people who already have eyes on them. That's why so much of Book Talk authors are getting those deals as well, because they've already got an established fan base and a presence on social media. And the publishers are not going to market you.
Yeah, that's kind of the reality that these days.
That's where we are in it.
Mm-hmm. And we got a member for 7 months. Wasted Space says Australia sounds fun right now. When are you moving to the USA, Shad? Anyway, thanks for all the hey, you do, guys. Merry late Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, sir. And I'm sticking it out in Australia. I'm fighting the good fight. Don't want to abandon my country, at least not yet. So, but thank you for your support, mate, especially member for 7 months. You guys are the ones that keep us going. Mike, anything you want to mention as we sign off?
Well, if you'd like to come and watch me finish this on Whatnot, you can. It's just going to be me listening to the very end of a book on a series of books on the Pacific Theater. Learned a lot about my people.
The Japanese, hey? Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So, I've been getting into the World War II history stuff, and the Japanese, man.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. There's one part. My mother lived through the firebombing in Tokyo,
mm-hmm.
and I've only ever heard her little very short version of it, and then you hear the entirety of 100,000 people burning to death that night, and every place they thought was safe to go burned, right? And it's like wow, what a miracle that I'm here because my mom survived that night when she was 4 years old,
Yeah,
gosh. So it was a real kind of eye opener.
The Japanese did a lot of atrocities during World War II, but only Americans get the guff. Only Americans are the ones the Americans dropped the nuclear bombs.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of that sentiment.
Yeah. Oh, the nuke was way better.
Oh yeah, that was the
nuke was 30,000 people. The freaking firebombing killed 100,000 people in one night.
If we had nuked used nukes, there would have been way more loss.
Oh yeah.
In orders of magnitude, if there had to have been a ground invasion of Japan, so many more Japanese lives would have been lost and American lives added to it as well. The nuclear option was actually the better option, and it worked. It ended the war. It's
and really it was because the Japanese the military wouldn't quit. It's Hirohito's shouldn't we be giving up now?
No, when you go through the war in the Pacific and the hell that the Americans had to go through when they had to do a land invasion of the surrounding islands, and how many lives were lost because it was
Guadalcanal, starting at Guadalcanal. I mean, I just listened to literally, dude. It's 3 I don't even know how many hours I spent listening to that, but I'm like on the last hour or two now. So
Yeah.
listening to that.
Yeah, there's great documentaries.
On Whatnot,
There's-
by the way, Whatnot, Mike S. Miller art, if you want to follow.
Oh, awesome. But yeah, War in the Pacific and World War II in color. Those are great documentary series that go through so much. And like, yeah, wow. But we are at the end of another wonderful live stream, the Culture Crusade. So we appreciate
And
everyone.
the end of a year.
End of a
Happy
year. We will
New
see.
Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. We'll see you all next year. So we will see what that year brings. And as always,
Oh, it's gonna be great. 2026. Got
Let's
good
hope.
feelings.
Let's hope. And as always, everyone, stay on watch. We'll see you later.